I'm Jeanine Davis. I'm in the Department of Horticultural Science at NC State University. And today we're at Gaia Herb Farm in Brevard, North Carolina. This is in the western part of the state. We're south of Asheville. A beautiful 200+ acre farm with organic vegetables and medicinal herbs. And we're here with the farm manager. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Alina Miles. I'm the farm manager here at the Gaia Herb Farm.
Tell us a little bit about what you're growing here on the farm.
Great. Well, we're growing medicinal herbs. We grow about 25 different medicinal crops annually here on our farm, and then we also grow a good variety of vegetables, and that is part of our employee vegetable program. So we provide vegetables to our employees 3 days a week during the season.
Is it all certified organic?
All of the medicinal herbs are certified organic. Right now we are using organic farming methods across the board on all of our crops, including the vegetables, but we're not taking the time right now to certify the vegetable crop because it's going to our employees, and also it would be very complicated to do the 155 varieties to document all of that for our certification. We have just been certifying our medicinal herbs that then go into our products that we manufacture here.
Okay. And Transylvania County has a reputation for being quite a rainforest.
Yes,
so I'm
for
sure
sure
that presents some challenges, but could you tell us a little bit about what some of the biggest challenges are to growing herbs and vegetables organically in this region?
Yes, well, you actually named, I think, the one that I would put on the top of my list. Just in this little microclimate that we have, we can get up to 90 inches of rain annually here. So it's very wet. That can damage crops or produce conditions where diseases or pests come more easily. So that is one of the challenges, as well as dealing with the weeds. So I think that most organic farmers have a challenge with keeping the weeds down, because that's something that we mostly have to do either by hand, or we do use a mechanical tractor cultivation, but it's very difficult to do a thorough job in an organic method. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are insects very much of a problem in this region?
Yes, we do have different pest problems, for instance, with our ashwagandha that we're growing, and we grow on a large scale here. So in addition, we have the problem of having to deal with a 15-acre problem rather than, just a small little plot that we're dealing with. So right now we have a flea beetle issue there. We have had other beetle problems and also fungal leaf issues.
Are there a lot of organic sprays and such for you to use for these problems, or do you have to rely on other kinds of more mechanical type measures?
Well, fortunately today we do have a lot of options for organic use pesticides and fungicides that can be used on an organic farm, and that are all OMRI certified for use. So we do have options. We use those products.
Could you tell us a little bit about how your farm complies with the new GAPS and Fisma regulations that affect all farmers now?
Right. We are definitely aware of all those regulations. We comply with all of the organic standards and with GAP and Fisma. However, we're in a little bit of a different situation because we send all of our product directly to our own manufacturing facility for production into our herbal supplements. So the main facility, Gaia Production, does take on the responsibility for those regulations. We make herbal extracts, so there's a automatic kill step involved there. And also we test every product that comes off the farm, just as we test every ingredient and every herb that we purchase from outside vendors. We're also testing, so we test it for micro and all the whole range of quality issues. So if it doesn't pass the specs, then it gets rejected, just like any other vendor does.
For the Food Safety Modernization Act regulations, because you are selling your product directly to a manufacturer, that allows you to have an exemption then that puts that responsibility for the food safety on them.
Exactly.
But of course, if your product doesn't meet it for their end, then you're going to have to go back and redo things anyway, but you don't have to do all that paperwork part on your end.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's true.
Good.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask you about your use of cover crops and compost on the farm.
Yes, well, we did originally when we started the farm 20 years ago. We had a very large compost operation for 5 years, as well as this farm naturally has a very high amount of organic matter. So we got a good start. We no longer have that operation, but we do from time to time purchase some compost and use it on the farm. We use an organic fertilizer, and we do cover crops. So every year, all the areas not with perennials planted, we seed with cover crops. We use a winter mix during the winter. And in fact, right now we're getting ready to do some summer cover cropping for some spots that we've already harvested for this year.
Very good. So one of the things that I find very unusual on your farm is that you use overhead irrigation. That's not something we usually see on organic farms.
Mm-hmm.
We usually recommend drip irrigation to help keep the foliage dry. Could you explain why you do overhead here?
Well, to be honest, as we were mentioning before, we get so much rain here that we actually hardly need to use irrigation. So we have been farming here for 20 years and only needed to put in an irrigation system a couple of years ago when we had that year of drought. And so right now we're using that mostly when we're planting the new transplants, just to get them started. But beyond that, unless we really have a long dry spell, we typically get enough rain.
I also noticed then that you don't have black plastic mulch like so many of our other farms. Could you talk about that for us?
Yes, we've just chosen not to really use plastic on our farm in our fields, so that's also a consideration.
And you make it work.
Yes, we do.
All right. How could an extension agent be of most service to you here? And do you use your local extension service?
Yes, we do. In fact, Craig Monty at your local affiliate has really helped us quite a few times this season, both with the fungal issue that we had in our greenhouse and a beetle problem we had on our vervain. So he came out right away and was able to identify what exactly the problem was and then help us to know what organic products we could use and to target that. So he was very helpful, and so certainly I would foresee us continuing to use that service more and more, as well as we have plans to do soil testing and possibly get some support in the issue of soil health and development for our amendments.
Okay. And is there anything that you think that we could do as a service, maybe something more that we could provide to you and maybe the growers in this region that we're not doing at the present time? I know I've kind of hit you out of the blue with that question.
Wow. Yeah, I would have to think a little bit more about that one, but that is a good question. I mean, I think that right now there are a lot of services that we are not taking advantage of that we could. So because we kind of get buried in the day-to-day of, trying to get the plants out and whatnot. But I think there's so much to offer, and we really appreciate all those services.
Well, that's a really good point, is that probably us in Extension don't do a good enough sales job with what we have to offer at the university. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.